Yo, when I spit bars in a raid, man, I go hard like Santan.
Good evening, one and all. Welcome back to your weekly edition of TG Touchline Gunners. It's your boy SV Carbaholic on hosting duty, and yes, we are back. We are back with another pod, fully in transfer season mode, and I'm joined by some delightful fellas. Firstly, Dr. Lee, how are you, sir?
I am wonderful. I am tired, but I am stressed. I need this team to activate because I'm seeing all my ops tool up. Everyone's getting smashed on deck, and I'm there holding nothing.
I hear you. You're gonna hold that Kepa Arrizabalaga, my guy. That's what you're gonna hold.
You know that meme with the duck with the kid's knife.
Jesus. Man. And we are joined by Minister Farrakhan himself as well. Listen, this guy, listeners, before the pod, he was talking to us about his rotation of women, the women that listen to the pod. I said, listen, these Gen Z guys, are wild. I know you guys like Khalil, but look, listen to the life he's living. There's a reason why some of us are retired and at the game. I don't need the stress that comes with the life Khalil lives. So yes, Dr. Umar's apprentice. I know, trust me.
Listen, I'm gonna repeat what I said last week and the week before that and the week before that one. I'm just a humble guy trying to make ends meet. All this is propaganda being pushed by the far right.
You are lucky we did not leak the files of what was being discussed before the pod started. So yes, but we will not go into grave detail on that.
But to answer your question, I'm doing very well, thank you very much. I'm still digesting the Sesko takes from yesterday. But
I'll be real. We don't care how you're doing, but I'm gonna talk to you. Yes, I was gonna do a quick side note on that. Yes, listeners, as you would have seen from the engagement on the channel, Cougs, Khalil, and Shabs did the first of what I'm sure will be quite a few scouting pieces on players we're linked with this summer, and obviously the main link has been Benjamin Sesko. We saw a lot of ishes, oohs, yikes on the pods. We were hearing a lot of crazy reactions. I'll give you guys a bit of context though, because I think we've done roughly around 12 of those Y Scout pieces, and I'll be real with you. I don't know what it is. They do call us at TG here snobs, and we don't like anyone. I'll be totally honest with you. We've gone through like about 10 to 12 players. I think the only guys that have had unanimous thumbs up were Eze and Rodrygo. Everybody else has legit been a thumbs down or an ooh. Even Bruno G, who we all know is a good player. When we scattered the tapes, when we were looking at Newcastle, how they play, it was ugly stuff. Like legit, the tapes weren't nice at all. So I'm sure we will do a lot more, obviously, as the Sesko links intensify. The next one we will be doing will be on Martin Zubimendi, who, as you guys would have seen, David Ornstein has said the deal is done and signed. So from Arsenal's perspective, so I guess in July we expect him to arrive. They're talking about the deal being ratified then for accounting purposes, but we are going to do a scouting piece on that. So look out for that. That will be the next one that drops. And if there's any you guys think or you'd like us to do, maybe some fun links that you think you'd like us to talk about, tweet us, let us know, message the account. You can join Patreon for as little as £3 a month. We had a lot of engagement on the Sesko stuff, so it'd be great. The more you guys sign up, the more you churn, more we'll be able to get out for you. So do feel free to tell a friend. Right, guys, we are going to Khalil brought to my attention, we've done a lot on strikers recently, a lot on Sesko, Gyökeres, touched on Ollie Watkins, gone back and forth, but we haven't really, I guess, dived in deep when looking at wingers, I guess, and the main wingers we've been linked to. Obviously, we've seen a lot of Rodrygo stuff recently about Rodrygo not being happy at Madrid, him being preferred to play on the left or central. We all know, obviously, he's behind Vinny and Mbappe there in that pecking order in terms of playing on that side. A World Cup year is coming up. Real Madrid have just signed that Argentine kid. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Masturtano or They also have Ardagula, Brahim Diaz, Endrick, loads and loads of players. And I think Rodrygo's tired of playing on there. So Rodrygo, the main link, which has been Arteta's obsession since Mikhailo Mudryk, has been Nico Williams. And we will also want a tentative one, which apparently is pushed by Andrea Berta, is Rafael Leao. So we're going to take a look at each and every one of them individually, and then we'll get into some listeners' questions because we've got a lot. You guys have sent in a load. So let's go back and forth. I'll leave it as an open floor. Dr. Lee, let's start with Rodrygo, right? Because I think this has been the most prominent one within the last week. He's had links to the club. It said that Arteta loves the player, could afford to have him on the left-hand side. It does feel a good fit. Obviously, he is, to my mind, obviously he's a left winger. He's probably not a touchline winger. He likes to drift. He likes to occupy some central zones, but he does have enough speed and athleticism about him to beat his man as well. I think I saw on average he, through who scored, he completes 5 dribbles per match, which I think would still rank him pretty much the highest in the team at the moment. So talk to me about him, because obviously he's been not necessarily marginalized, but it's obvious there are more key attackers at Real Madrid than him. And at the age of 24, right, 23, 24, I believe, right, he's looking to potentially make a move. I think Alexis Sanchez and Ozil pretty much moved at that age as well to Arsenal as well. So talk to me from your perspective, the pros and cons of this player, and how, if we were to get him, you'd see him in our setup.
So for me, that is the no-brainer first choice for me at left wing. Reason being, I think, one, we need to make a bit of a statement signing. I think it's important that we kind of sign someone who's of profile, not just for the outward world, but actually for the players inside the club as well. Because I feel like we need to show the likes of Saka, the likes of Sleeve, the likes of Declan Rice, because we've come close in a couple of occasions that we're serious. And if we look at how our opposition are moving at the moment, they look very serious. So it's very easy for people to lose faith and confidence if we're not sort of showing out. And I think Rodrygo goes some way to looking serious and making a bit of a statement signing. I think one of the biggest issues with us in attack at the moment is quality. And by that, I mean mainly technical ability. I feel that we lack a lot of technical ability in the final third at the moment. And our technical level really needs to come up a long way. And I think Rodrygo is one of the most technically gifted, one, that we've been linked with, and two, just generally wingers out there. So again, no-brainer. Has the athleticism to actually do the job, no-brainer. Can score goals, can dribble, can create, all-rounder. I mean, there's hardly anything as a player to not like, if that makes sense. Now, also, another thing that's underrated about him, he fits in because not only has he got that all-star talent, he works hard. And maybe that could be coming from a team where he's always having to defer to the superior talents and the stars, but the fact that he's used to that and the fact that we've seen that from him is another really, really positive fit for our team. I just feel like he fits like a glove in terms of what we're looking for. The only downsides, I'd say, are, one, prizing a player from a club who don't really want to be there. Sometimes when someone doesn't really want to be there, can struggle to settle if that's really not their dream move and they're kind of being forced out. Although if he has a point to prove and if he's of the right mentality, that can mitigate that somewhat. The other downside is I always have a little bit of skepticism when someone is coming down in levels. So coming from their dream club, coming from a Madrid or the big club, and then stepping down a level, is the motivation going to be the same? So he's been such a hard worker at Madrid, but is he going to think, I'm Billy Big Bollocks now, and I need to be the man who's the main man, and I'm not going to run for you, you need to run for me. So those are the only negative things, but I don't really see those being an issue. So for me, head and shoulders, I mean, I would do the deal all day long. I mean, when it gets to sort of over 100 million, you start thinking, oh, it's a bit too much money. But at 80 million, and that's pounds, so if it's even going to 90 million euros, I would still do the deal. I think that is money well spent. Right age profile, right profile technically, right profile physically. star power wise. I think, sign him up if you can and do whatever it takes.
Okay, thank you. And Khalil, pros and cons.
Yeah, so coming into the transfer window, which I feel as if we've been talking about since January, I think a lot of us, or I'll speak for myself, I think when we were sort of profiling the attackers that we were looking for or we thought would fit in with this team, when talking about the winger attributes, I think we all sort of agreed that we needed an extra bit of pace for one, two, close control, dribbling ability, and three, the ability to create your own shot or shot creation action. And that's how the conversation sort of centered around Nico Williams a lot. I think that's also because he was someone who's been heavily linked with Arsenal. But when a player like Rodrygo is potentially available, you sort of put your prior plans to one side, because for me, as Leroy mentioned, the player quality is definitely a concern for me in the final third. And even though Rodrygo doesn't necessarily match up to be the touchline hugging winger that Arteta seems to want in his front three, for me, the player quality that he has overrides that specific tactical demand. And for me, Rodrygo is a player that you get, and then you make adjustments within your own team to platform in a way that gets the most out of him, because he's a seriously talented forward winger, 10 all in one. And we lack that. We lack the ability to give, outside of Saka, of course. I do feel as if we have for a long time lacked the ability to give the ball to one of our forwards and have them really be able to create things for themselves. Often we're having to discuss more about how to platform them to get the most out of them, which is normal. But again, the top players in those positions, the need to platform them isn't as strong as it is for others. Again, we've talked a lot about Martinelli, how for what Arteta seems to want his wingers to do, doesn't really affect the game in that way, or seems to struggle, especially since teams have played us in a much more respectful manner. So again, when someone like Rodrygo comes on the scene, you take it and you pay whatever fee that Madrid will be asking if he's available, because he's that level quality. As Leroy said as well, the context of him leaving Madrid, you would hope that he has a point to prove. He's still young. He's had to be shifted around for the other quote-unquote star players at Madrid. So you'd hope that you're getting a guy similar to sort of the Alexis Sanchez model from Barcelona, where he's still very young, still got huge amounts of quality, but, for politics reasons or tactical reasons, didn't get to be platformed in the way that they would like at their previous club. So they come here and show the world just how good they are. So yeah, I'm all on board for Rodrygo. And I've mentioned already his ability to sort of work as a 10, especially when we've spoken about in separate contexts, how maybe we would like another attacking midfielder, because we feel as if we would like, more on-ball creation from another midfielder outside of Odegaard. But when you buy a player like Rodrygo, you then unlock the possibility of having a guy who can receive the ball in the final third as a creator, which again is very, very valuable. But again, he can operate as a standard winger, which is what we wanted in the first place. My concern is, again, as Leroy mentioned, getting a player out of Madrid is not straightforward. And in his context, because it's a new manager, there seems to be the natural inclination for a player to sort of hang around and see if the manager is going to treat him any differently than the previous one. And again, it's such a short turnaround to next season that I don't feel as if Rodrygo, unless he's forced out, which I don't foresee Madrid forcing him out, unless he gets clear indications from Xabi Alonso that he's not going to be in his plans. I don't see him forcing the move this summer. I could be wrong, but that's just my initial instinct. I kind of see this as a move that happens in a year's time. Maybe the season starts, he sees that life isn't going to change for him in that regard. So maybe the earliest exit opportunity is January, or post next summer. But yeah, that's where I stand on him. Don't have any reservations as him as a player. He's not the quote unquote touchline winger that we've envisioned. That's just all about pace, and giving the ball. He's getting down the touchline. He very much wants to come in and combine. But again, these are qualities that I think we desperately need in our front line, and I'd be very, very happy to get him. If we do sign him, that'll be the best player we can get on the market. And for me, that is like the most important thing.
For sure. And I don't really disagree with anything either of you guys say. I just think the way modern football is going now, where a lot of teams really don't allow any sort of space in the middle, they try to clamp up the middle. And even whilst I would like to see a bit more sometimes through the middle, it is the wide players who more than often break open the game. You saw how dangerous PSG looked with all of their attackers. And I think whilst I've sometimes complained about how potentially stale Arteta ball can be, I think you've also seen on the flip side how exciting it can be when you've just got dangerous forwards on the pitch, right? I think we were doing our own little releasing swans for Gabriel Jesus earlier this week in the group chat, when we were talking about those first 6 months and how he really changed our lives, because the general performance level, everything he was doing, both from a physical standpoint, technical standpoint, even though obviously we know he's a BCM merchant, but what he gave the attack in terms of dynamism, I really feel we could do with an uplift of that. So many dribbles, X factor, chances created by himself. And I think someone like Rodrygo definitely fits that bill. I guess, Dr. Lee, another person that could potentially fit that bill, even though he's more of a quote unquote touchline winger that fits Arteta's requirements, is Nico Williams. To me, this does feel like it's been Mikel Arteta's obsession since he was obsessed with Modric as a winger. Obviously, the difference being here is that we know, we don't know for certain if this guy wants to leave. We've been chasing him for the best part of 2 years. We still don't know if he's open to leave and if he wants to stay. We're seeing conversations about renewing at Bilbao. We all know that Bilbao, because they don't spend on transfer fees, as they only have BAS players, they can afford to pay their players handsomely. And I've seen some of the links with Bayern. They're talking about Nico Williams wants 325k per week, which are just crazy money to me. But I have started to warm to this guy over time myself as well, watching both a bit more of Bilbao, but especially when I watch Spain as well. I think he's one of the highest dribblers in Europe. He attempts 9 dribbles per game, very, very high volume, sometimes successful, sometimes not. But when we talk about creating danger, when we talk about creating chaos, he definitely fits this bill. His ability to use both feet is definitely a plus point in his favor. And he does look like he's adding goals to his game, which I think was a criticism from a lot of people as well. So, Dr. Lee, talk to me about your pros and cons for Nico.
So Nico Williams, obviously, I don't watch La Liga like that. So I've had to try and familiarize myself with the player. Obviously, watching the Spain games and international breaks. So I watched reasonable amount of Spain games. Obviously, international tournament, it was good. Tried to watch one Bilbao game and then just clips and stuff. Now, from what I can see, obviously that is with limited viewing, so it's not deep viewing. He looks like he's got bags of talent, like genuinely. When I actually started watching and like paying attention and looking at the clips, looking at the footage, I was thinking I can see why Arteta is obsessed with this player. Physical attributes, he's got them. He works very hard. He could stretch teams and he's not afraid to run in behind. He's willing to do that, but then can also dribble and beat players. But then also has the technical level and the shooting ability of both feet. So in terms of raw attributes, I can understand it because you can see the potential there. You can see that this man's a potential superstar if he puts it all together. Issue being, however, is I'm pretty confident that he does really, again, it's heart of hearts. And again, it's difficult because mentally, the mentality of a player is a lot in football and how people mentally adapt to the environment and stuff. This guy don't want to leave Spain. This guy barely wants to leave Bilbao. So I would, again, in a similar way to Rodrygo, if someone's being kind of forced to make that move in their career and move to a place where they're not really happy, that's one of my big cons and concerns of if he struggles to adapt mentally to the environment he's in and if his heart's not really in it, if that makes sense. Because I probably can say with good certainty, if that guy goes to Barcelona and he's happy, he's probably going to fulfill his potential. Whereas I'm not sure that he will do that if he has to. He feels like he's forced to leave the league. The other con is this guy wants way too much money because this guy is a development project at best, he is a development project. So what the rumors today were buying are interested in his wage demand of 20 million euro a year, which is what, 300k, 320k pound. That's outrageous. I'm sorry, that doesn't fit with where he is in terms of the level of player. So that just is a non-starter. And if he's not willing to negotiate on that, it just doesn't make sense, because it throws your way. It's United problem again. It throws your wage structure all the way out the window, and then players are just coming in asking for stupid money. So that doesn't make sense.
Also, for that wage, you just have to be the best player in the team, and you're not going to be the best player in the team. So
he's not, and he might not be, because he could easily come in and flop. He could easily come in and stink. I mean, don't get me wrong. If he was on a reasonable salary and actually wanted to come, I warmed to that signing, because I can definitely see the talent there, even though he's not quite there. But it has to be appropriate. It has to be an appropriate fee, obviously, with his release clause it is, and it has to be on appropriate wages. And if it's not that, then I just don't think it's a wise move to make. But he's another one that is I don't really think he wants to come, because if he wanted to come, he'd have been here time ago, the way Arteta's assessed with him. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, agreed. Khalil?
That guy does not want to leave. More importantly, he does not want to join us if he does leave. I think that is very, very clear. He does not move like a guy who truly wants to join Arsenal, because I feel as if we've been stuck in a loop in regards to what the transfer links say about him, that he wants 300k and he's relatively happy.
Sorry, just on that. Sorry to interrupt. I'll let you carry on. How much of it do you think plays a part? So last season they qualified for Europa. They obviously got to the semis, and then I didn't watch Bilbao this season pretty much, but they qualified for the Champions League. So he's going to be playing Champions League football. So I guess that's probably a factor, right? He's handsomely paid, plays obviously in a semi-decent team. The fact that they're right up there. So I guess there's no incentive. Part of me does feel like he wants Barca, but Barca don't have the bread to buy him.
So this is what people, I think, have slightly forgotten about what happened last summer. Barcelona were ready to sign him, and he was ready to join, but it was their finances that stopped them from securing the deal. And when you remember that context from last season, he was never that close with us. And for me, that should really show you like where his heart lies, or where he's thinking, and it's his right to. And I'm not trying to, go into another rant about our recruitment and our choices and who we go for, but it just seems as if it's a wild goose chase in a way that Rodrygo isn't, because I don't think Rodrygo has truly been available prior to, this summer in a way that Nico Williams allegedly has been, and we're still stuck. But back to the play itself, as I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Rodrygo, he is the archetype of what we think Arteta wants from his winger, specifically his left winger. He's got wicked acceleration from a standing start. He loves, to beat his fullback, and has the output, not necessarily in terms of goals, but in terms of like an efficient decision make at the end of his dribble, which we have lamented in terms of the other guys who have had in a similar position. I fully get why Arteta wants him. I don't really watch him for Bilbao. I only really watch him for Spain, and I assume that Spain is Spain are more of a similar ideal to what you get at Arsenal, so maybe that's a more relevant watch. And I do like him for Spain. I did enjoy his performances, for example, at the Euros last summer, and I can definitely see why again Arteta won him, and the fact that he can play off both wings if necessary, which is another plus point, because again we need to be able to replicate danger from the right side when Saka is injured or unavailable. But again, every time this topic comes up in the group, I'm always the one to say this guy does not want to leave. Nothing signifies that this guy actually wants to leave. So that's why I don't put too much into it. But yeah, I ain't got an issue with the talent. I think, of course, if he was to join, as mentioned, on that sort of wage, you need him to make another step up from what he is right now. And that definitely pertains to output, because we already have certain guys on very high wages who have questionable technical quality and output in our front line, not mentioning any names. And we cannot be adding another one on top of that in terms of questionable output. So yeah, That's my concern with Nico Williams, because if I said to you we're getting Nico Williams and Sesko, do you think that puts us over the top? Because I think we get better, but I don't think it's the superstar quality necessary that we anticipate at this stage. But there is room for improvement, so you can't sort of hold that against them.
Yeah, I think it's a case of you can see the potential with them, but they're not what they need to be right now. The question would be, how soon can they get to what you need them to be? So you're gambling on a lot of variables. Khalil, I'm gonna stick with you because we move on to the next guy now, and this is the Gen Z Berta target. Listen, I am seeing. By the way, wait. By the way, listen. At the weekend, I know I'm late. I downloaded TikTok. My missus, she always be sending me stuff on TikTok. So I'm now obsessed. I'm legit obsessed. I know I'm late to the party and I'm showing my age here, but yeah,
this is the most uncool thing ever. You just downloaded TikTok,
bro. I know I'm late, but yeah, it might be the greatest invention ever. I'll be real to you, bro. I'll be seeing this brother on TikTok. Some next dances, I'll be seeing him. I saw the video of him with Unknown T. Brother, listen. Anyhow, bearing in mind, legendary AC Milan. This is AC Milan with 7 European Cups. This brother, they finished, I don't even know, I think they finished like 9th in Serie A this season, 9th. If he came here and man is doing drill tracks and you're not performing and you're not tracking back and there's no work rate, these Gen Z guys that are doing drip and drown, I am going to lose it. I will join. Hey, I was gonna say something crazy. Listen, I will join the other side. I'll join the other side with them, man. In terms of, because I'll let you know with, and obviously Khalil, I'll let you go on this. Yeah. First and foremost, let me caveat: Rafael Leao is incredibly talented. On talent alone, he might be one of the most talented wingers in the world. The big issue that I've always had with him is the application that I really struggle with. Is he tuned in? Is he plugged in? Does he want it enough? And it's annoying because that season AC Milan won the league, I think 3 seasons ago. He was MVP and he was the best player in the league. And you saw it. But then you wonder what he's been doing for the last 3 seasons since. He tends to go through the motions a lot. It's whether he can be bothered, if he wants to do it. And that's frustrating. And to be fair, if I'm to be fair to him and take a step back, I'm a big fan of Kvaratskhelia. I watched, outside of Arsenal, I probably watched more of Napoli because of Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen over the last 2-3 seasons than I've watched of any other team. So I know before, and I was shouting for Arsenal to sign him, Kvaratskhelia is incredibly talented, and we've all seen it, right, across the last few months. The worry with Kvaratskhelia as well was, would he put in the hard yards? And Enrique's really managed to tune him into like being a dog. The way he works off the ball, I've never seen anything like it. Because to me, that guy was the ultimate maverick. At Napoli, they called him Maradona. He would just dribble, take it past everyone and score. But if he lost the ball, he would never track back. So I'm not saying it's not impossible, but I think I really struggle with players that don't apply themselves when they've got the talent. And that's what would really frustrate me with Leao, because I've seen him pick up the ball, run past 3-4 players and score. Like when you just have someone with the ability to do something like that, if they don't churn that out on a regular basis, that frustrates me, because it's not like you don't have the talent, you don't have the ability, you're just not applying yourself. So that would frustrate me. But Mr. Khalil, I know you're a drip or drown guy. I know you probably got Unknown T on repeat on your playlist, my guy. So listen, give me the argument for Rafael Leao. I know you're a big fan.
The way you guys talk about Rafael Leao, honestly, this is like
Brexit means Brexit. Yes, huh? Yes. Brexit means Brexit.
Guys, in fact, you don't even talk about him like he's like your Souness. You talk about him like, the King Von FBG butter videos. Those guys need to be gone from the community before we get better.
Absolutely.
That's how you talk about this guy. And for me, I think it's one thing to express concern about his work rate, fine. But I think the whole like lifestyle image thing, I swear, is gassed. It's gassed way more than it should be, in my opinion. I think also, like I said already, certain guys, I'm not going to name any names, you need to get over the fear of certain man coming to London and just outshining you in Eden. I've said it already. Like, you're going to lose the bottle war. It's fine. Listen, they operate in different tax brackets from the rest of us. That's why we're here doing 9 to 5s. It is what it is. once you let your jealousy subside,
I'm not jealous of Rafael Leao, my guy. I am not jealous of Leao.
The way you track his fashion posts, you track his TikTok, you track this, you track that. Man was in the studio, unknown to you, acting like he's doing a drug deal, man.
Yes,
Come on,
because when you're doing that and you're putting up 7 goals a season, I'm going to lose it.
All right.
I'm sorry. When you're letting man at the back post and you're letting man score headers at the back post, and you don't track the man. I do not want to see you dancing like a fairy on TikTok. I do not want to see it. I want to see you running backwards and forwards. I need to see you running in between cones, hitting it top bins in your back garden. I do not want to see no fairy dances with no. He's clutching a bag of pearls, bro. I lie. He is.
I don't know right now.
He gonna come to London and be dressing like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You know when DCL was posting those IG clips with the purses, bro. I don't want that, bro. I don't want that in my club.
And so what?
Hey, listen, if he's gonna score 30 goals a season,
he can just. Yeah.
I don't care. But I need to see you doing that, and I need to see you tracking back. I need to see you running. If you're not running, I don't want to see it.
So yeah, okay. Let me talk about Milan seriously for a second, because outside of the Premier League, I probably watch Serie A more than any other league due to my TV setup. So like you, I watched a lot of Napoli. I've watched a lot of Milan. I've watched a lot of Inter over the past 3-4 seasons. And again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he doesn't have intensity issues. He does. But I kind of feel there's things that don't get mentioned enough when it comes to the Milan team. Number one, the Milan team that won the title a few years ago compared to what the Milan team has become, I'm sorry, they're nowhere near as good. And even then, when they did win the title, I wouldn't say they were a good team, but I didn't think like their quality was top, across the board. It was Leao who was the best player. And I think with the guys like him, yes, you obviously want him to show more intensity and be more effective, but I think it's become like a self-fulfilling prophecy where, because the team is a bit dysfunctional, so is he. And if we're going to talk about platforming players, we're going to talk about, getting a player from a bad environment, good environment. Surely these are things that should be considered when you're talking about a guy like Leao. Now, of course, would I go spend 150 million on him? No, because I think at those prices, you need that guaranteed consistency, etc., etc. But I'm definitely not opposed to spending, maybe like 50, 60 million on a guy and looking to put him in an environment where he can flourish, where he's got better players around him. Like Leao was expected to be that guy in a dysfunctional team. It's similar to sort of the Rashford talk, where I think for a number of years, United were happy to sort of, run Rashford into the ground. And then when he's not really doing it anymore, then it's like, Rashford this, Rashford that. And he does, obviously he does deserve the criticism, but it's almost like a toxic relationship that one needs to be removed. And you've seen him in Villa, he's not washed. He just doesn't want to play for that crap team anymore. And I think part of that can be applied to Leao in that sense. And I get that where we're at in the timeline of this team, you don't want to be taking risks. I hear that. Rodrygo is my first choice. But the way we talk about Leao like he's some condemned goods, I did watch quite a bit of, Milan in the Champions League and in the league this season. I've seen Leao put in plenty of good performances. Like, when this crap Milan team went to Madrid in the league phase, and Leao cooked. What was it? Who was starting right back? Was it Valverde or Vasquez? Whoever it was, he was really good. But obviously, Reinders was the one that people talked about in that game. So for me, I'm a fan of talent. I'm a fan of peak talent. And when you've got peak talent like that, sometimes a change of scenery is good. And I think for Leao, if he's coming to a very good team, a team that he's a fan of, I think he's even tweeted about liking Arsenal before and that kind of thing. I think these are motivators that you should really consider when you talk about a guy like him, because yes, he's got flaws, but I do feel as if he's put in a better environment, that he can then show like his quality in a way that isn't in this dysfunctional team where, his flaws are highlighted and we don't really talk about the rest of the team as such. But again, I'm a sucker for talent. I'll happily admit that. I'm willing to take a risk on guys who can do things that other players can't, as opposed to a less talented guy but works hard. For me, I've seen too much of that. Like I need to see peak talent at Arsenal. So Leao, I'm definitely for taking a risk on him if someone like Rodrygo isn't available. And we've just discussed, we don't think Nico Williams is available either. So then you start looking elsewhere. Shirky's gone. So again, you're already getting into the market of risks. So you need to evaluate what kind of risk you want to take. And as I've already stated, you can post all the TikTok he wants, man. Like you know, this what this guy likes to do in his spare time.
I cannot lie to you, bro. I can see that brother ramping up, rolling up at King's Cross onto DJ AG set, and just
yeah, and he might see you there. So why is it okay for you and not okay for him?
But I am your dad. I do not get paid 200k per week. If I got paid 200k per week, I would be like Ousmane Dembele. I'll be marrying a nice Muslim woman, and I would.
That is the only way I would take Leao, is if in his contract he has to marry a Muslim woman and he's not allowed out and has to renounce all kind of debauchery. I don't want to see it.
You might need to get over jealousy, man. This is all jealousy based, because you know when he steps down in London town, these girls that you're messaging and they're not replying, you know why they're not replying. Because
but seriously, on a serious level, I understand your points, and I understand, look, Leao will be a risk, yeah? But obviously all risks are not unlimited. So the risk with Leao is obviously you sign him for an X fee, then he doesn't turn out, and then what can you do? You've got a massive fee, massive wage. What kind of salary would you be comfortable putting him on, because you know he's going to come on big money? And what kind of fee would you be comfortable in paying?
It's interesting because AC Milan, a lot of their best players have been leaving for not big money. When I saw that Reinders went to City, it was like, what, 47, 48 mil, which was cheap. I was shocked. I've just seen Theo Hernandez. I know he's got a year left on his contract, but he's going to Atletico for like 25 mil. I don't know what's happening with Milan and like them losing their good players, but
so just to add on that quickly, this is why there might be an opportunity. They've got Redbird as their owners, and they're venture capitalists, and they're going through a stage of, for the past few years now, Milan fans have been very angry with how the club is run, because they've sold their best players for not too much money. They don't really seem to have a direction in how they want to recruit. So it's not like they're recruiting bare young guys and then flipping them for talent. They're literally trying to sign Luka Modric right now. So like they're all over the place as a club. So that's why I feel as if there are opportunities
in Chelsea's future, inshallah. But anyway, in terms of, so I saw a rumor that Leao would be available for under 70 million euros. So you're talking 59 million, 60 million pounds. That is a reasonable transfer fee.
That's very reasonable.
Very reasonable transfer fee. Now, my issue is the wages, because if he doesn't do what he needs to, you can't sell him unless you put him on something reasonable. What kind of salary? Because I'd say if you,
I don't know how much he's on at AC Milan. That's probably what we need. Let me just type Leao wages.
Because anything that starts to get in the 250 range is very, very peak. He is not moving. He is seeing out that contract.
It says here, according to Capology, that he earns 172,500 euros per week.
Oh, euros. So that's what.
Yes.
140.
Not bad at all. I don't know whether it's factored in, because you know he had the
I don't know if that's true though. But
yeah, but you know his previous club was
Lille.
He had that legal issue, wasn't it, where he owed like the transfer fee because of how he left Portugal, was it? So I think that might be factored into.
No. He left. He joined AC Milan from Lille. Remember, that's where Pepe was as well. That's where he was when he joined.
Yeah, but there was an issue at his previous club where basically because of how he left, some court had decided that he owed the transfer fee. So I think in his last deal, I think
when they rushed the fans, all the ultras rushed them and like
that was the one. That was the one. So I think it was only with his last deal that he signed with Milan that they officially agreed to cover those fees. So I don't know whether that's factored into like his wages there. But yeah, that's just another bit to point. I think for me, it's just reinforcing the point that I think there is negotiations to be had where we can get him at a semi-reasonable price and could be a good addition to the squad. Of course, this is as an alternative. I wouldn't say it's like my absolute first choice, but yeah, peak talent, man. You can't just
but he's a crazy talent. Like, I mean, anyone with eyes can see how talented he is. Like, runs like the wind, 6'2", strong as an ox, can dribble, technical, shoot. Like, he's got everything that you would want apart from the work ethic and intangibles mentally. That's it.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Listen, it's dicey, you know, because I'm not there yet. I said I'll give these man till pre-season before I start shouting, but I'm like Dr. Lee at the moment. I got itchy trigger fingers, bro. I need to see something soon. And I'm not counting Zubimendi, bro, because that deal's been done for a hot minute. So,
I don't want to hear about a DM. I swear to God. If you tell me any more DM defender, I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. I'm not
fam.
into it.
Well, and the thing is, funnily, I was watching the Athletic podcast with Ornstein today, and he was saying, obviously, because, you know, a few weeks back, the news was strong that Partey was signing, but it's dragged on, both him and Trossard, actually, and there's been no agreement. So it might be, well, the thing is, if Partey leaves, then Arsenal are going to have to sign another midfielder. So I just hope that doesn't eat into the attacker budget again as well, man, because I'm not trying to hear anything about we couldn't do X or Y. So these guys really need to pattern up in terms of what they do, man, because I think the striker and the left winger for me they're just non-negotiables. That those two have to be done regardless of whatever else we choose to do.
You're not excited about a government-mandated fullback signing because you know that's going to come.
Well, listen, I've said that, and listen, I've complained about defenders every summer, but I actually think we need a defender. As crazy as that sounds, I actually do think we need a right-sided defender because I can't do another season of Timber's gone down, so White has to play the whole season, or White's gone down, so Timber has to play the whole season.
Yeah.
And guess what? That overstresses Saliba because Saliba can't get rested. So there's no rest between them. Like I said, if Mr. Miyagi was available, we wouldn't be having these discussions. But I'm gonna need us to. That's what I said. I think I said in the chat earlier. This would be ideal if you had like a young right-sided defender coming through. That'd be great. Like I know the Athletic reported about interest in Mark Gahey, but I'm like, bro, that's a lot of money, bro. He's gonna cost a lot of money, and obviously he can play centre back or right back, but I'm not trying to spend that sort of money.
And it's
someone who's in a World Cup, yeah. So I don't even see the logic for him in it. Like, why would he do it? You know. Anyway, but yeah, I digress because we saw the links with Hato, and we did have a question on that. Does this Hato move signal the end of 5 Partey, or how hard should we pray for the end of 5? So we should pray for both. We should pray for the end, and we should pray for him to move on. The thing with me, if we were to sign a left back, I would prefer someone a bit more traditional. I just don't know, man. You know, watching PSG, I don't know what you guys thought, but seeing the fact that Mendes and Hakimi can both play inside and outside, so it's just like, I just need that. And they're both rapid. They're both comfortable in the spaces. I would just like to think a bit more of that, man. I think Hato, whilst he's good, and I do rate the talent, he's a bit more Calafiori. And he's not necessarily an overlapping left back. He's a left centre back who can play left back. It's a bit more of the same. And I'm not even sure if he's the type that can invert like that personally either as well. So I don't know. Any thoughts on the Hato stuff?
Yeah, I mean, a certain man were moved by like Tierney cameos towards the end of the season, just off the fact that he can get it out wide and whip it. So if we were to buy a fullback, I wouldn't mind buying one of a different profile. I think that the obvious talk that's been there is if we sign Hato, then it can aid with the transition of Miles Lewis-Skelly to midfield. But that would also mandate, in my opinion, a change in our midfield composition, which I'm not necessarily against, because obviously we have the well talked about left 8 with minimal build-up responsibility and there's a box crasher and all that. So if the Hato move was to trigger sort of a tactical evolution a little, then fine. I would be skeptical if, as talented as Hato is, I would be skeptical of him coming in and starting immediately as well. I don't know whether Arteta would see him as an immediate first team option in that regard. So yeah, and to circle back to what I was originally going to say about our recruitment, if we're operating from the standpoint that we have a limited budget, this is where like my frustrations appear in regards to our defensive recruitment, because you can rationally make the argument that we need cover for a centre back, we need to cover for a right back, we need cover at left back. I can 100% understand all this. But again, if we have an allegedly a limited budget and we are spending or allocating resources towards these things, when we still have very outstanding issues in our attack, in multiple positions in our attack, that's where my frustrations show. Because again, I do not want to be here in a year's time lamenting the fact that due to injuries or lack of player quality that our attackers or our attacking endeavors have struggled. So that's where I stand in it. So I've got no issue with the ideas of recruitment, but I definitely have an issue with our execution of recruitment. So yeah, no issue with Hato. Just get the other business done.
Okay. Dr. Lee, I know I'll come to you on this one, as you're someone who's campaigned for this quite a lot. Nasir_Lee says, does player welfare exist? Another tournament created in the FIFA Club World Cup, 2 domestic competitions in the UK, no winter break in the Premier League. It does feel crazy to me. You know, that I saw Declan Rice and Saka playing last night on the 10th of June. And then we have another whole club competition that lasts up until, you know, early July. Is that not crazy to you, Doctor, or where do you stand? Bearing in mind, the season will start pretty much a month after this competition finishes again.
It is absolutely insane. And yeah, player welfare is just disregarded because they earn a lot of money. I mean, I've said it many times. There's way too much football. FIFA trying to basically take they're an international organization and they're trying to get a bit of money from the club game. And it's kind of making me sick. Like, they really need to think about what they're going to do, whether it's they're going to cap players' minutes and what minutes they're going to be able to play over a season or what, because it can't continue. They can't just keep expanding the calendar. If they are going to expand the calendar, then they need to change the game, have roll-on, roll-off subs and 35-man squads, or something like that. You just cannot keep flogging these players time and time again. So something's got to change. So yeah, I'm very concerned about it. But the powers that be seem not to want to listen.
Yeah,
players need to strike, but the atmosphere, or I guess the reception from the public, if they do strike, is one that I would question, because, as mentioned, because they have a lot of money, people don't want to hear any complaints, which I think is ridiculous. Because again, as a spectator, you want to see good football, you want to see the best players play. Now more than ever, we're seeing injury after injury. We're seeing, crappier quality of games. I'm not expecting the Club World Cup to be a good show at all.
Well, apparently they're struggling to sell tickets for it anyway. I've seen some of that. I just think, the appetite, you have to reach a point where you're just like, enough is enough, man. And especially when, next summer there's a World Cup to get. So imagine you're going to do the Club World Cup, you have a minimal break, come back, play the whole season, got a World Cup in America, Mexico and Canada. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It is tight. All right, King Lex, I am Mr. Lex says, can we get the exact action Khalil saw that made him remove his glasses on the scouting piece? Hey yo, I'm so dead. Yeah,
it wasn't one specific action. It was an amalgamation of actions that I just kept on seeing. I was like, nah, this can't be what they've been selling me on for like 18 months now. To clarify again, please actually watch the Patreon, because it was an hour and a half of us discussing Sesko. So I don't want it to make it seem like, like one clip is like my entire opinion on Sesko. But what I would caution is, for guys who have been waiting for our like centre forward to be resolved, you definitely need to temper your expectations with who you perceive Sesko to be. I will definitely say that, because the ball striking, we have seen like crazy strikes from him. But what the extended tapes show is that there's definitely a lot of variation in the consistency of that striking. And that was probably what made me remove my glasses at one point, because I was like, nah, there's no way again this guy's going to go and strike the ball like this. But so wasn't one thing. It was just a build-up of clips that made me react in that way. But yeah, it was.
He did ask a serious question. He says, seriously, with a lot of big clubs at the Club World Cup, could we use that to our advantage in the league and Champions League with a fresh squad and signings? So, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think this is a great opportunity with Chelsea and City there. Obviously, I know Liverpool are not there, but I think, I think back to the start of the 22-23 season when we had Zinchenko and Jesus in early. I think, Dr. Lee, you remember that pre-season, we were just turning up and we were blamming teams. I think we beat Chelsea 4-0. We beat Sevilla like 6-0. And we were ready and cooked to start the season. And I really think, especially with no international tournament this summer, this is a great opportunity for us to have a bit of a reset and to be ready and firing to start the season, I think. So, yeah. Okay, Dr. Lee, let me give you this one. Salim_L87 says, if you could make Arteta be less stubborn about one thing, what would it be? And it's a two-part question. He says, also, why as a club do we not mind the French market more, considering we've gotten our centre-back partnership from that league?
They'll call me Dr. Umar if I start talking. So why does Leroy go
first? Stubborn about one thing. That's a tough question. That's a tough question. I'm going to go on a bit of a limb because I'm not sure, but my issue is pigeonholing players because I am a bit concerned that what happened to Emile Smith-Rowe, or what I perceive happened to Emile Smith-Rowe, might happen to Ethan. And I say why? Because I feel that Emile Smith-Rowe was slightly misprofiled. I don't feel that he is a midfielder. I do not feel he has ever been a midfielder, and I feel he's been a forward. And I feel that in our system, the only place that really suited him was on the left in the current system that we play. I do not think he was suited to those central 8 roles whatsoever. Now, we're hearing with Ethan, obviously, Ethan is coming to the team, showing bags of talent. In my opinion, as you've seen on my tweets and stuff, there is nothing about Ethan that screams midfielder to me. Ethan looks like a forward to me. Now, he's, in my opinion, most of his cameos most of his talent has been shown when he was out on the right. Obviously, he's had good games in the centre in the Carling Cup and things like that. But me personally, that's where I feel like he's flashed the most potential and we've got the most out of him. Now, I'm hearing that obviously we want to get 3 forwards, which I can understand. I can completely get that. But if we are confining Ethan's minutes only to the left 8, because it's exactly what happened to Emile Smith-Rowe, his minutes were confined to the left 8, and then suddenly it appeared he had no minutes. I am concerned that if that happens and Ethan is sort of profiled as only can play in that left 8 position and can't deputise in both positions, that he will then struggle for minutes next season, and then we have a problem on our hands. So I feel that he needs to be a bit more fluid in terms of the positions the players play, and not just pigeonhole and confining them. So that's me probably reaching a bit. The other thing I'd be a bit more stubborn, which is very clear, is I would wish he wasn't so stubborn about turning down transitions and building up slowly. And I wish that the team would take the transitions that are on offer a bit more. And he's not sort of so concerned with being his rest defense and the structure in terms of transition play, because I feel we turn away a lot of goals and we give away a lot
Or I just think be willing to engage a bit more, not all the time, but sometimes in basketball games, you have more talent than most teams. So you can afford to have shootouts. And I'm not saying all the time, but you can occasionally afford to have shootouts. I think I tweeted earlier this week, the goal Saka scored against Liverpool, where Ben White just hit that long ball over the top to him. I was like, that just looked to me. I said, someone responded to me, was like, that is the most Liverpool goal you'd ever see. Like, it's just not a goal Arsenal score often. And it just feels like, to your point, Doctor, is certain moves or certain ways to approach it that we turn away from. Sometimes some of those quick switches or some of those quick ones over the top to get the attacker through on goal. We don't always need 300-400 passes before we're going to take a shot. Do you know what I mean? So, it's a good point. And he said he also did ask you about the French market.
We should mind the French market more because, one, the talent is unbelievable in that market. And number two, I think the talent specifically, the attributes of the talent over there translates very well to Premier League football. So we should be using that market more. I feel the reason we don't use that market more is because the makeup of our boardroom, the makeup of our manager, etc., has changed a lot. We are more Spanish focused in terms of the decision makers and the powers that be. So that's probably it. People have a bias towards their own. People have a bias where they've come from. And I imagine Arteta in his spare time when he's not doing Arsenal stuff spends way more time watching La Liga. La Liga than he does watching League One.
It's quite interesting though, because for the first 3-4 years there were actually barely any Spaniards at Arsenal at all. It does seem to be more of a recent thing.
Did Arteta actually play in La Liga? Because he obviously played in League. He played in League so he's seen it.
He never. He was only in La Liga as La Masia as a kid. First club was PSG, then it was Rangers, then it was Everton. His whole career was pretty much spent in England and Scotland as well. So yeah, apart from that 1 year stint in France. So
what was obviously I agree with what you're saying about the Spanish makeup of the boardroom. Do you remember that story about Berta seeing, was it at Atletico? He was at Atletico Madrid and he went to go see a player that they were interested in signing.
Boubacar Kamara.
That's the one,
And and you were endorsing it because man he didn't know how to dress properly. Man was dressing like he was inviting the village round.
You're insane.
I know. Khalil was backing it. He was backing it.
Yeah, the reason why I'm backing it is if you want to engage in the Francophone market, the African Francophone market, you're going to need to deal with the eccentricities.
No, you don't.
No, you get Do not justify that. I'm sorry. You cannot put on a nice suit. You're going to a job interview. You basically got a good job interview. You can't put on a suit. You come barefoot on top of this. Are you crazy?
This is
your hair?
Bro. You don't even need to do suit. Man is just coming to your house. You're wearing a vest and shorts, bro. On some trousers and some. Bro, no one's even asking you to dress smart, bro. Just dress normal, bro. You're dressed like, oh my,
we have to have higher standards for our people, man. I'm sorry.
Now listen. So if you invite me to your house, right? And
brother, are you offering me £200,000 a week contract? if you're offering me that contract, me too. I will wear a suit, bro. I will 100% do that. No problem.
If I have a business meeting and someone comes to my house, I'm dressing appropriately. Are you absolutely insane?
Man can't be comfortable in his house no more. This is where we're descending to.
Right.
You are, Listen, you want everyone to dress like Dr. Umar 24/7. That's what you do. That's what you do. So yeah. Listen. Okay. Cool. A bit of a fun one. Our 3 most skillful players ever. Obviously, you've not watched everyone in the history, but in terms of what you've seen, the 3 most skillful.
Thierry has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of pure talent and not the output, and that's what makes it difficult.
It's not. I'm not asking you about output. I'm just saying the 3 most skillful players you've ever seen at the club.
Can't lie, I might have to put this Dalman kid up there.
What?
I don't know, bro. You can't be serious. That's ever. Please, come
that
on.
guy's just dribbling past man. They're not there. I don't know what else I can.
This guy is insane. Thierry obviously is there. I'm just trying to think who are the skills, man. Who are the
actually, you know what?
RVP was a very early on in his career. He was a very, very skills man, and some of the goals he'd scored, some of the things he would do.
You know what? Strike the diamond chat. I was mad.
You are mad. You are mad. Crazy.
Dennis. The thing with Dennis as well is when you watch back like the quality of his goals. I mean, because I think I saw a tweet someone said we don't talk about Dennis Bergkamp enough, and I hear it only because, I mean, obviously Thierry was the icon and he was like the world star and all that, but yeah, the quality of Dennis's touch is actually unrivaled when you really, really break it down. So I'd say, Bergkamp. There's probably a midfield.
be there. Yeah, I think RVP's got to be there because I was thinking like skills wise. I mean, we had ballers, but they weren't like skill players, if that makes sense. We've had the Rizikis baller, but not skills man. We've had Kleb baller, close control. Was he really a skills man? He'd probably be up there.
Skills man, we've got like a lot of like what you say, like good five-a-side players, but they're not like Well, Nasri was skillful, but he wasn't the most skillful. I mean, to be fair, Nasri did have some very good solo goals.
Yeah,
Arshavin was capable of scoring some good solo goals, but he was fat and lazy.
Let's just say Omri, RVP, Bergkamp.
Yeah, I think so. I would go with those three as well. Okay, just a couple more. I don't know what Count Draxula's brother. He's not even asking about football, bro. Man said Ben White and Love Island. My guy, ITV2 is your friend. ITV2 is your friend. He's even saying Calafiori on Take Me Out. Listen, the only thing I'm going to say about Calafiori is that I'll be seeing that guy all over my social media, but he's never playing. My guy, don't let me turn on you like Tommy Asu. I'm going to need to see you next season, bro, because you're doing a lot of stuff in London that doesn't involve kicking a football. So, listen, pattern up.
Listen, the Calafiori Leao 2-month step, vicious.
These Bologna man are made of paper mache, bro. I'm very much, very close to putting, a ban on signing players from that club, man. So they don't have enough, protein in their diet, man, at all. Right. Okay. Bit of a Lamray_show says, after another disappointing season for Arsenal, a lot of shouts for Arteta out. Not that I'm advocating it, but who would be available to replace him? It's a tough one for me. I don't really watch ball enough outside of Arsenal to comment on who that would be. I remember when Slot was taken over, a lot of people were saying he had done a good job at Feyenoord. I've not been overly behind it, but I think I've been quite vocal to say that I think I need something tangible from Arteta, especially, which is why I'm very pro that he gets all his pieces he wants, so he doesn't have anything to hide behind next season, because there have been a few, whilst I've liked what he's done, and I think he's done a very good job, because Arsenal are competing at the top end of both the league and Champions League, so it's very hard to say he's not done a good job. The question is, do you think he's the person to get us over the line, which is why I want him to have the pieces. But some guys like Havertz and Marino, those are big red flags for me, man, and I'm struggling to get over that. So that's why I'm really intrigued to see who the attackers are that we sign, and what he can do with them. Do you know what I mean? So if he gets the attackers he wants, he needs to deliver for me. So, man, I don't know. To answer the question, I don't know who that person would be personally to take him out. I don't watch enough ball to comment on, but there's a couple managers I like, but these things are fluid and they change very quickly. Yeah. All right, cool. I think we're nearly done. All right, let me ask one more then. Touchline Oracle, big him up, says, with City and Liverpool signing high quality players, what type of signing would you like to see from us to mitigate the quality gap that appears to be increasing between us and our title rivals?
It's the technical level. So what I would like to see is a very technical left winger in Rodrygo. I would like to see a striker that knows where the goal is. And then I would like to see the technical level be back up in midfield, particularly in the offensive or transition midfield position. So I mean, I'm not Zubimendi. I don't see him as a technician. I know people do. I don't really see it, to be fair, but we'll see. But I need someone in that left 8 role who can play in that role, who can obviously dovetail when Rice isn't there, and we can make different midfield combinations of that as a high technical level on top of a left midfielder with a high technical level. I feel that physically we're a pretty good team, especially at the back. We're a pretty good team, and that we can match people physically. I feel that the technical level is what's lacking in terms of competing with our rivals, especially in the final third, and that's what we need to improve on.
Khalil?
Yeah, I completely agree. It's mad when you see City unveil Shirky, Reinders, and who else have they signed?
Ain't Nuri.
Yeah, all at the same time for very reasonable prices. I'm not going to say
8 Nori. How much was 8 Nori?
35, was it?
It's looking like just for over 100 mil. Pretty much, they've got three top quality players, man. So, yeah,
exactly. So I'm not going to say it's opportunity missed because again, I don't think people comprehend just how much talent there is out there in football. It's just a matter of having the guys in recruitment being able to identify that talent and bringing it through. And yeah, just echoing what Leroy said already, as it pertains to our final third or, our attacking third, we definitely lag behind pretty much, I want to say like 90% of other elite teams, to be specific. We just lack one, like the output firepower, but again, two, as Leroy has articulated, the technical level is definitely a step behind. So, like I said with Rodrygo, I prioritize him more than anything because the technical quality is peak. He is able to take the ball and through his ingenuity of thought and his application of his technique is able to create opportunities for himself and space for others around him. And outside of Saka, we lack that immensely, both from our wing positions, our well-known centre-forward position without Jesus, and with Odegaard having a very down season, we lack that from our midfield as well. So, hopefully, guys like Ethan make another step up, which can aid in that. But outside of that, definitely would like to see that replenished in the transfer market.
Yeah, cool. All right, big up. I think we're going to leave it there, lads. We've been going for just over an hour. Obviously, we've already had the Patreon piece, the scouting piece out early this week, as mentioned. We might end up getting the Zubi piece out by the end of the week as well. So don't say we're not feeding you guys. Hopefully we have some more stuff that we can. Was that a pause? Maybe, bro. Listen, I'm tired, man. Listen, pause, play, whatever, man. Listen, let's lock this off, guys. Thank you very much for joining me, listeners. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
In a bit.
Yo, when I spit bars in a raid, man, I go hard like Santan.